If you're looking for a thriller that grabs you by the collar in episode 1 and refuses to let go, I Will Find You is absolutely that show. It's sharp, emotional, and surprisingly layered. Today I'm going to break down why this show works, why it's worth your time, and really why it stands out in a crowded mystery thriller landscape where most shows out there these days on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime are really just dull. So just to sum up, I Will Find You in a few sentences. A dad is wrongly imprisoned for killing his child. He gets some new information from his sister-in-law showing that his kid, his boy, is probably alive, and the two start plotting and start investigating to see what's happening, why this is being covered up, and every episode is really just more information, more gripping. The show blends mystery, emotional tension, and really character-driven storytelling in a way that feels very grounded and human. Now, every episode pushes the plot forward. There's no filler in it, and pretty much every character does great in their role, well casted. The pacing is tight, the stakes feel real, and the show constantly reminds you that the truth is never simple, especially in this story. Everyone loves a comeback story, and that's what the show, I think, is really at its core. It's the kind of story that keeps you invested from start to finish, with, of course, once again, a character-driven story focusing in on lead character David Burrows, who's played by Sam Worthington, a man wrongly convicted of the murder of his son. Now, he delivers a really good portrayal of desperation and determination. He's not fully broken, but everyone has turned their back on him, and he's 5 years into a life sentence. It seems like everything is pretty much over for David Burrows at this point. Now, Worthington isn't my favorite actor. I really didn't like him in the Terminator movie. I can't remember if it was Salvation or Genesis, one of those two. Nor do I, some other movies I've seen him as well. I just don't particularly like Sam Worthington, but he did fantastic in this role. So the show, I thought, was smart, keeping his character really in a certain range, not showing him out beating up, a bunch of FBI agents or anything like that, not giving him some crazy skill that he had that he was able to utilize or anything like that. I will say, though, he did jump over a few buildings. That's the only thing that kind of contradicts this point. But for the most part, he's really just grounded, an average dad trying to find his son. Still, though, probably the character that I thought made this show was the sister-in-law, Rachel, played by Britt Lower. She adds really this whole new layer of tension, this whole new layer of complexity to the story, and what makes her part interesting is she kind of sits in this uncomfortable middle space. She's part of the family. She's got to stay loyal to her sister, who's kind of moved on with her life after this horrific murder, but she's also, at her core, she's carrying these doubts, these suspicions, and frustrations. She's the character who's going to say anything, say the thing that everyone else is scared to say, and her background is a investigative reporter, so she just kind of naturally is drawn to finding out and figuring out the truth. Now, one of the other good elements of I Will Find You is the detective team. It's a father and daughter. They're not just background investigators. There are definitely characters who add quite a bit of tension, skepticism, and intelligence, I thought, to the story. So the dad is the more experienced, obviously. He's the more logical one. He's the more reasoning one who, when they start kind of figuring out that something fishy is going on, he's just like, hey, we've got to go, and our job is to bring these people in, not to investigate this case. His daughter, of course, is a little bit more rebellious. Eventually she turns and starts helping them at the very end, but she's more skeptical of the situation, albeit she's still chasing David Burrows, trying to figure out what's going on in this story. So the writing was really good with lots of great characters, and they didn't rely on cheap twists. The show really built tension through character decisions, consequences. So the mystery in this show, and one of the big strengths once again, is each episode gives you a new piece of the puzzle, but it's never in a way that you think. It really misdirects you quite a bit in this show, but it's not overdone like a lot of shows do. It's satisfying, it's smart, and it respects the viewer's intelligence. Now, the core theme of the show is probably emotion. It's about grief, guilt, hope, and the lengths people are going to go for their loved ones. You feel the father's pain. Sam Worthington displays it well. His frustration, his determination. It's powerful, but again, at the same time, it's not over dramatic. There's a lot of thrillers out there, but I Will Find You really succeeds because it's not trying to be flashy. It's grounded, emotional, character-driven with fantastic characters, including the villains, a wealthy family. The mother the matriarch is Madeline Stowe. She does great. For a while, you think she's the bad guy. You know she's kind of involved somehow, but you don't see her son being ultimately the bad person. Side note here, he did play Rocky's son in Rocky Balboa. I completely forgot about that. But he was good because he's interested in the sister-in-law. He's interested in Rachel, so he has a thing for her. So it adds even more natural depth and complexity to that. So this was a terrific show. I was actually very surprised after I watched the first episode, and it's rare that I like many TV shows these days. Most of the stuff they put out there is not very good. I would highly recommend this show if you have not seen it.